Welcome, everybody, to History Lessons. I'm your host, the journalist Sin-seer, and today we have a very special guest, the legendary Lakim Shabazz. Thank you so much for joining us.
Peace. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to take it back to the early origins and then what you have currently going on in 2024. But for those
hmm
who may not know, can you take us back to where Lakim was born and raised?
I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. New Kingdom, New Jerusalem. Named by the gods in the early 90s. But that's Newark, New Jersey. Definitely.
No
Brick
doubt.
City, stand up.
Can you take us back to a day in the life of Lakim teenage years in New Jersey?
Wow, my teenage years in Jersey, it was all about hip hop, man. I mean, you figure my high school years was from 83, like 82 to 86. You know what I mean? So you think about all the good hip hop that was coming out then. That's what my life was about, basically embracing the culture. I embraced every aspect of it, man. I started out as a DJ actually. My DJ, the God C Just, and my cousin Lamel Bourne, they convinced me to write my first rhyme. I wasn't really into MCing, I was DJing. So I wrote the rhyme, I kicked it for them, they liked it, and I've been rhyming ever since. But during my early teenage years, man, it was about listening to Cold Crush, listening to Fantastic Romantic Five, Fearless Four, Grandmaster Cass, Kumo D. They will always be my idols in hip hop. When I met Cass, I had butterflies in my stomach. And I performed for him at the Zulu Nation anniversary back in Mecca in Harlem a few years ago. And he said something to me, man, that'll stick with me for life. When I got off the mic, he looked at the audience and he looked at me and he said, "Now, he is your favorite MC's MC." For
Wow.
Grandmaster Cass to tell me that, that meant the world to me, man. Definitely. But that's basically what my teenage years was about, man. I used to break dance. I used to tag graffiti. My graffiti name was Span, SPAN, and actually that's the first thing I ever got locked up for. Tagging on the number two train as a
Right.
teenager. So yeah, learning my craft and hip hop and being sparked with the knowledge of self as well. The difference with that is like in time I grew with the knowledge. When I first got it, the lessons was just being passed around out here in the streets of North. We didn't really have nobody to walk us through the teachings. That came later on, you know what I mean? And I'm grateful for that, that I stuck with what I had, you know.
Right. When
Once I
when
learned
would
that the black man was God, you couldn't get that out of my mind.
right? At what age were you learning the teachings?
I first got sparked with mathematics at 13. Yep.
Okay.
Knowledge, understanding. And that's the
Wow.
age that the man, as I grew, with this knowledge and with the history and certain things that Allah taught, this is one of the ages that he wanted us to focus on. He said, focus your teachings on those who are 13 and 16. At 13, they off the clock because a basic clock only goes up to knowledge, wisdom. That's 12. At 13, they ready to knowledge or understanding. At 16, they ready to be married to me. 16 is only saying who is the 5%. And you adding one and six, that'll give you seven. Technically, that young man is a man at that point. So, I'm grateful to have got sparked with supreme mathematics at 13.
Right.
Yes.
Before really getting into hip hop, what was that New Jersey scene like musically?
Disco music, disco. It was a lot of DJ crews out here, a lot of them. And when the weather got warm, they would bring their DJ equipment out, plug it up, whether it was in front of their house, at the local park, or the local playground. You had a lot of different DJ crews in Newark, and it was all about who got the best mixes and things of that nature. You had crews named Mark IV. Gentlemen of Neptune, Gentlemen of Leisure. And I actually got into DJing from that. Like spinning disco music was big for us back then. Even Sugar Hill Gang used the disco record.
Right.
Good times. You know what I mean? And
Right.
the rest is history. But yeah, it was a real strong disco scene. I build with the youth in this day and time, and I look at what's happened in the city. When I was growing up, you had real discos, like real clubs where you could go in. They got lights on the floor. You come in there, the floor rocking. It was like real discotheques. And the youth of today, they don't really get to experience that. A lot of where they go out to, it's like a little bar front, little dance floor here and there. They ain't never experienced clubs like the Palladium or Ecstasy Garage or so many clubs I done been to, man. I'm talking the Palladium was the biggest spot I ever been to. You go in there, they had speakers the size of a house. Yeah, so definitely, man. The scene back then was about DJing, and that's how I got into it. I used to spin club music, disco, they call it house or whatever, but that's gonna always be a part of me. I
Right.
love music, jazz, hip hop, R&B, disco. It don't matter. I'm a universal man when it comes to sound, but hip hop is my preference.
No doubt. About what year was it that you made that transition from DJ to MC?
That had to be. I was in the ninth grade. I had to be around about 14. Yeah, I kicked one round for my DJ, and my cousin. They was like, "Yo, man, you got it. You could do it." Because I used to DJ for my man Bink. He was from the Bronx. I learned a lot from him. I connected with him in like the eighth grade, and eventually he started spending weekends in the Bronx at his aunt house. And me and him was shorties. We would walk down the Disco Fever, see the artists coming in. We standing outside the Disco Fever in the early 80s. We would catch the train, the Bronx River. His cousin Sooney lived over there. And this exposed me to a lot, man. Back then, it was a bunch of cassette tapes floating around the city with all the hot groups. So that's how I basically honed my craft, listening to all these different live performances. I'm talking Cold Crush, Fantastic Romantic Five, Furious Five, Funky Four Plus One More, Cosmic Force MCs. The list goes on and on. Jazzy Five, you name it. You know, a lot of my roots with hip hop go back to the Boogie Down Bronx, definitely. For my man
Who were,
Bink having me up there, and just a love for music and a love for hip hop, man. To me, Mo D, Treacherous Three, Ultimate MCs. Tila Rock, definitely. My man DLB, Tito from the Fearless Four, nasty with it. Even to this day, Tito, I think Tito will put it on any one of these MCs out here. I feel that way about myself as well. I feel that an MC should. If you MC, you should feel like you nice, man, and you ain't gonna step down for no challenge, no other MC, nothing like that. But yeah,
absolutely.
man, it was cool. Growing up out here, it was a big music scene, man, big.
Who were some of the early New Jersey MCs that maybe don't get mentioned today that you were witnessing before yourself?
Well, you had a lot of local groups. My man C Wise and Burn B, they named ring bells out here in Newark back then. You had a lot of different groups in the surrounding cities too, like East Orange. I think East Orange caught the hip hop culture faster than we did here in Newark. Because in the early 80s, you had a lot of different MC crews from East Orange, Jersey City as well. Jersey City had a lot of groups, Tranquilizing Three, Sweet, Slick, and Sly. All of these different artists were out during that day and time. And not for nothing, we would catch the train to Jersey City in the early 80s, and we acquired flyers where they were giving parties out there in the Armory, and it's bugged out. Cold Crush, Treacherous, all of them used to perform in Jersey City back then. So Jersey City, I look at it was like a extra borough to New York. It's right across from the Hudson, and the culture was live out there, man. It was real live. Newark caught on, but we caught on eventually later on.
Right. You talked about the transition from DJ to MC around 13, I believe. What point did you really start taking it serious?
Far as MCing,
Yeah,
once
that
I
you.
battled once I battled these dudes, I
Right.
had these dudes wanted to challenge me in school, and it was three of them, and I battled them, and the crowd felt that I won. So that was inspirational right there. And the fact that I really looked up to my cousin Lamel. He's the one that sparked me with the knowledge, and my DJ C Just. Us being members of the nation, it was like, yo, God, you got it, man. You could do it. So I just stuck with it, man. And
Right.
I'm grateful that I did, because I wouldn't be doing this interview right now had I not. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Before the flavor unit, were you a part of any crews?
Oh, not really. I mean, me and my man Bink, the one I was telling you about, that I used to spend weekends in the Bronx with, Myself, him, and another MC that went to school with me. I went to a high school called Arts High out here in North. Another MC, my man Easy to E. He was nice too. Me, Ease, and Bink were a group at one point, and then I went solo. They formed their own little coalition. Ease went on to become, I think, like a road manager for Jodeci. Him and my man Smooth, and he may be still active in the industry. I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to him in some years, but he was real nice on the mic too. Ease always reminded me of Treacherous Three and them. He always had like a Tila Rock type of style, Tila Rock type of flow, definitely. So you had little MC sprouted out here and there, and I got to give it up to my man. Most people know him online as Big Seb, but in the early '80s there was a song with this rapper named Hassan. I forget the name of the record, but it was Hassan and 7-Eleven. And at the time, Big Seb was a young kid, but he's one of the first people from North to ever rap on a record. And this was in the early '80s.
Mm,
Yep. My man, Big Seb. Definitely. Shout out to you, Seb.
no doubt. What was your early creative process early on as an MC? Did you have to wait for the beat, or were you always constantly writing rhymes?
Nah, I was always writing rhymes, and when a beat came, I would try to formulate my rhyme, to sync with the beat. Whereas now, when I write, I need the beat. I would rather have the beat. The more I've grown musically, I've noticed that um, I like to catch rhythms. This is how I develop my flows. If you give me a track, I'm gonna sink into that track, and I strive to make myself another instrument to the beat. This is something that 45 King told me before he went home. May he rest in paradise eternally. That's my man. I love him to the core. But he used to say, "Lock, you know what I like about you on the mic?" I used to say, "What, King?" He said, "You make yourself another instrument on the track." And when he said that years ago, I didn't understand. Now I do. I understand exactly where he's coming from now. My man, DJ Precise from Denver, he was doing the interview and they was asking him about MCs that he liked. And he made reference to myself. He made reference to Rakim, G-Rap, and Kane. And he was saying that, these MCs I like, they stood out. They were rhymed to beats that was like 120 beats per measure and be killing it. And the thing that he stressed was like he likes the way that we rhyme because we sound like a saxophone or something like. So when he said that, it made me think about what 45 King was saying as well. But yeah, man, I definitely prefer to have a track. It doesn't really matter, but I prefer to have the beat first. That way I can sink into it.
Right.
Definitely.
You mentioned the 45 King. Before meeting him, were you already creating demos and shopping them to labels?
Well, no, I wasn't on before meeting him, I wasn't shopping to any labels. However, I was rapping and still taking my craft seriously. The thing about my meeting with him, I met him actually 3 times before we connected. I first met 45 King. I had to be in maybe like, I think maybe the ninth grade. These MCs that lived on my block. This was at a time I was living in Irvington, New Jersey. I had an MC named OP and my man Sharif, and they knew that I rap. So 45 King had moved out here from the Bronx, and his name was ringing bells. He was doing like parties. He was DJing at Irvington High. This is where Latifah, Apache, all of them met him at Irvington High. So his name was ringing bells in the community. OP and them knew that I rhymed. They wanted me to meet 45 King. So they took me to his house once. I met him. We kicked it, and that was that. Fast forward, once I graduated high school, I started taking my craft seriously. I was managed by this brother Abdul, and Abdul, with Ab, I had a demo. He took me back to 45 King. When he took me there, I had to remind loading or something. Oh, there we go. I had to remind 45 King of, our previous meetings. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you demo, girly, girly, this, that, and the other." So I was being managed by my man Abdul. I gave 45 King a demo. He liked it, but me and Abdul had some sort of falling out. That didn't work out. So Pan, again, 2 years. Fast forward 2 years after that, I was still working on my craft. Me and my DJ making demos. My cousin Lamel was cool with Biz and Cool V. Lamel would take me to Biz house, and he would let me rock for Cool V and Biz. And the first thing Biz said when I got on that mic after I rhymed, he looked at me, he looked at Vaughn, he was like, "Yo, goddamn man, he's like a little Kane or somebody. Yo, he ready to go." And at the time, they was working on the Vapors album. So what Cool V did, I asked him one day because my cousin kept taking me over there. I'm rhyming for Biz and Vaughn. I'm hanging with them tough at this time. They making working on the Vapors album. And I just asked Cool V, I said, "Yo, 45 King?" He was like, "Yeah, you know him?" I was like, "Yeah, could you give me his number?" Vaughn gave me his number. He reached out to King and let him know about me. And Mark remembered me. This time when I went to King, this was the third time. He was living in Orange at this time. This time when I went to him, the first thing he said, I called him on the phone, brought him up to speed as to who I am. He said, "Yeah, I remember you. You want to come to my house?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "All right. Could you bring me some herb?" I was like, "Huh? You want me to bring you some herb?" He's like, "Yeah." So I bought him some herb. I went to his house. The funny thing, when I got there, Funky Beat was playing. Chill Rob G was on the mic. Apache, it was Chill Rob G, Apache, and my man Lord Ali Bosky going back and forth, kicking it, right? So I sit down, 45 King introduced them to me. So Apache, he's that one that's gonna put you on the spot. Apache's like, "Yo, ain't you the new dude?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yo, get up there and rock, yo, let us hear you and shit." So I'm nervous like that. I'm rocking. You gotta understand, I'm hearing they stuff on Red Alert show. I'm hearing
Mm.
these skits with Chill Rob G. I'm hearing 45 King special, and he's playing these beats. And it was just an honor and a privilege to be amongst them. Like my man Apache, I love him. May he rest in paradise. He was like my rhyme partner. And him and his brother Latif, when I first heard them, they reminded me of Treacherous Three of them. Same type of flow, same type of cadence, same type of delivery. And I was always attracted to that, always attracted to Mo D and them. But anyway, they asked me to get on the mic. I rhymed. They liked me. And they came to the decision to implement me into the flavor unit. So that was my interest. One thing Apache used to say, he was like, "You want to be a part of flavor unit? All right." At the time, we used to drink 40s. This is when Old English was out. What he would do was roll a blunt, smoke that blunt with you, drink a whole 40. Now get up there and rhyme. This
Mm.
was his initiation. Apache, y'all. You had to drink a 40, smoke a blunt, and then get up there and rhyme and be able to hold your own.
Wow.
Yep. Flavor unit rites of passage.
So what
Yep.
was that time frame right there, your first entrance into the flavor unit?
Pardon me?
What was that time frame for your entrance
Oh,
into
that had to be that was around 87 going into 88, like early 87 going into 1988. Yeah,
okay.
because Mark was living in Orange and then he had moved back over to Stuyvesant. And once he moved back to Stuyvesant, that's where we all used to link up at right there.
Now
Definitely.
was the name already for the group, the flavor unit? Was it already named?
No, no. Actually, they didn't have a name for the crew at that time. How that came about was La T had this song called "This Cut's Got Flavor" that Red Alert was playing, and the song was hot, And at the time, you had a lot of crews and posses. You had the Juice Crew at the time, different posses, different cliques, and I didn't want to go that route. Me having knowledge of self, I was like, nah, I don't want to call us a posse or a crew. I want to be different. So the flavor, we all felt that we had different flavors. You got all these different youngsters from Jersey. We had the female. We had two females actually, Latifah and Nikki D. A lot of people don't mention Nikki, but Nikki D, Daddy's little girl, Nikki D. She's an original member of the flavor unit as well. Anyway, we would just jam, man, and that was one of the best times of my life, man. Coming to 45 King House and us just getting over there and just coming together jamming, man. 45 King, we would come there, he'd be playing the beats. We smoke our little herb and we would hone our craft right there, all of us. All of us. And it was a beautiful thing, man. But the name came about from Latif's song, This Cuts Got Flavor. Instead of using crew or posse, I looked at us as a unit because unit is the root word of unity. I'm looking at these MCs, we all together from different areas. We from Jersey, and we coming with multiple flavor under one umbrella, and we unified. So let's call it the flavor unit. So that's how that name came about, definitely.
Wow. At what point do you start recording your demo?
Uh, Immediately, immediately after linking with Mark, coming to his house for maybe about 3 months, we started working on demos. Yep, definitely. And Fab Five Freddy has a lot to do with Flavor Unit basically getting on and getting out there. I don't know if you've seen a video before on YouTube. Yeah, there's a video out there with Fab Five Freddy speaking, and he talking about how he came to Mark House. Mark was letting him hear us, and all of us was tearing it down. And when he heard Latifah singing this like reggae type of chant, that just blew his mind, according to him. And he actually did some shopping for us as well. You know, I think
Okay.
he passed that off to Dante Ross, and the rest is history. Latifah got signed to Tommy Boy. I got signed to Tough City. Latif, Chill Rob G was on Wild Pitch. So it is what it is, man. I have no regrets. People was asking me that because of the label situation. Afterwards, I find out, it's a bum deal. I got to get up out of here, whatever. Yet at the end of the day, I'm grateful still. Even on Tub City, I am the only artist to ever film a video in Kemet to this day. I have
Wow.
not seen a rock group, a jazz artist, a R&B artist. Nobody else has filmed a video in Kemet the way that I did. So I'm grateful for that. And the label paid for that. They paid for me to go to Kemet. I was in Egypt for a whole week. I was in Luxor, Aswan, and Cairo. So when people look at that Lost Tribe of Shabazz video, it's not all an expensive video. Yet the footage that's there is real. There are no props. When you see me on a camel right there by the pyramids, I'm really there. When you see me on the boat, that's the actual Nile River I'm floating down. So, that was grateful. And that was always a dream of mine to be able to go over here into the original lands and shoot a video showing the visuals of certain things that we built as a people. I always wanted to show that to the world. So I'm grateful. I had no regrets. Because the Tough City Records, I got 2 albums out there and I'm still known to this day. So I'm grateful.